I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we are back with Attack on Titan Season 4, Part 3. It's been so long for us, you know?
So long.
It's been like a month. But regardless, I'm so excited, man. I'm glad that we didn't have to wait too long. We thought that it was going to come out, like 6 hours ago, 7 hours ago while we were at work.
But luckily, we were lucky.
It just came out now. So without further ado, if you haven't watched with us before or anything, we offer full length on our Patreon. You can look at that if you want. We like to discuss the show afterwards a lot too. So stick around for that if you're into that sort of thing. But you ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Back episode 1. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Chapters? What? Okay. All right. We're fine.
We are so okay right now.
We're cool.
Why are we seeing the kid again?
It's gonna be like mirroring Eren getting attacked in the first few episodes. God damn it.
No. I'm not ready for this.
Would you say that the ground is rumbling?
I mean, the animals should have been the first to react, not the people.
Holy shit. They all look different.
Wow.
Show me them swimming.
How do you breathe?
So he's just been living with that knowledge.
It's like he grieved them years before he
even did it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Ymir face.
Oh my god. I never thought we'd get to see this from Eren. It's like a Titan volcano. Oh.
All the money. Oh. Oh my god. Look at all the footprints.
Jesus Christ. Oh! Oh, Annie's house! Fuck! Wow. Is that Eren's butt?
Yeah.
Flower.
It's the jacket. What a contrast.
I wonder if that was like a real moment. Love that Annie's still wearing the ring.
For talking to her?
Wonder what Hitch is doing right now. None.
Oh, look at him! Stop!
This is happening minutes after, like, what we just saw.
I was, like, crying, and now I'm, like, the happiest person ever seeing Armin's face like that.
I cannot believe this show, man. You could hear the ring. Oh, back to their conversation in the alleyway, season 1! So, do we think Flock's inside?
Oh, smart.
Thanks. I can't believe it's like real, you know?
I know. Feels like fan fiction.
Wow. God, this is so cool! I've been watching so many plane videos recently. How even, Levi? You are crazy, dude.
I believe him, though.
Do you buy it?
I don't know. I just can't see her not changing her mind.
Wow.
Oh, Hanji.
Just ask to brush her teeth, you know, baby steps. God. Block! Block!
Flock! Oh, shoot! Don't shoot on Young Kampung. No. Oh, we saw the drips of the water! Shoot.
Oh!
Oh, shoot! In the fuel tank! The aim on that guy. Oh.
Some Flex Seal. What?
Is the rumbling coming somewhere? It's coming to them.
Do you think that they can have fun?
Maybe. Like, wee. No.
All of them?
No!
What? With a smile.
My turn. Yes. Of course Hanji would want to leave with some, like, humor.
Song. She knows she's in a fucking anime, bro.
She does.
Look at her. Hell yeah, Hanji!
Tripping them up.
This song. Oh!
Oh, they're stepping on. Smart.
Oh! Oh! God, I'm pissed on Yankapone, and Hanji didn't have a moment before she left.
Does he even know?
Oh!
Oh my god. She's literally on fire.
Holy shit! Oh my god, she's a Beyblade! She's... Oh my god. Watch us.
Oh. What am I seeing? Oh. Look at everyone. They're all watching from on top of the footprints.
Fuck.
Holy.
Oh my god. Armin was looking at Hanji's, like, body on fire, being like, I know how that feels, dude. Hanji. I fucking love you, Anya Capone.
Oh, I'll deliver you. I love that. He resolved
Help
himself
me
for that.
do it. Yeah.
Wouldn't he?
It's an idea.
Let's see what you got. Freedom. Oh my god. Oh, it's him as a kid.
Yep. I believe that was him with Armin earlier in the episode too. I will not take anything from you.
What he was saying in the mirror.
To discuss the fact that there's no need to have a
for
discussion. Well, now they can just use Armin, right? They already tried to talk.
Armin's face looked so similar. He's making the Eren and Ymir face.
It's interesting that Eren didn't summon, like, Annie there. You know what I mean? He knew who was in the plane. What a great line. Yo, I'm telling you, Falco's about to fucking fly, bro. I'm telling you.
A dream.
Oh! That's why he looks that way. That's the first scene of season 4.
Beast Titan means any type of beast? And he was the orangutan because of the stuffed animal he had as a kid? I can't believe they're alive.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I know.
What the fuck?
Are the airships riding into the fog? They are!
Eren looks like a coat hanger, bro.
Took advantage of hate.
Wow. This is like Marley's Irwin. I have chills.
Oh my god. Farewell to our monster.
What?
I bet Hanshi took out more.
Now it's just the same, but they're on fire.
It's like Zeke is a marionette. Is he controlling Zeke right now?
I think so. And look, he's like less colored too.
And his eyes have the same line effect.
It's kind of poetic that it's the orangutan who did it too, right? Show me it.
Annie and Falco, maybe. Or just Falco. I don't know.
Show me this monstrosity.
Show me.
Okay, it's the plane.
Oh.
Hell yeah, Anyan Capone! Hell
Okay.
yeah!
This is all.
He's gonna get you there! God, I love you. Oh, what a shot!
He's gonna deliver them. He said he would. If he dies, though. He's made out of. He's like the Warhammer.
What? Look! It's like he's standing on pieces of it. God.
You can make whatever weapon you want with the Warhammer.
The audio there was great. I cannot believe Levi's doing this. Holy shit.
Reiner's mom is gonna witness this.
Look at the scale. Holy shit. Oh. Peak. Oh, strapped with dynamite.
Oh.
God. The G's. It's a fucking team up. Oh shit. Oh. No! No! Okay, I don't even know, man. Okay, that was Attack on Titan, Season 4, Part 3, Part 1?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
All I know, it was like an hour of Attack on Titan.
Yo.
So that was an experience.
It didn't even feel like an hour to me, dude. It felt like it was a good 30 minutes, 35 maybe. Like, I did not, like, I was like, okay, we're gonna get another chapter. No worries. You know, at least one more before it ends. And then it ended. It ended.
I actually did feel like it was long, not in like a bad way, but I felt like there was so much in there and they didn't like, you know, rush it with the pacing.
Was so good.
So like that's how I know that it was a substantial amount of time because of how much was in there, how many times I like cried or was almost brought to tears from different events. You know, that the pacing was just on point for that.
Oh my god.
Roller coaster.
All right. So, it's interesting. So, typically, what we do when we're at a loss for words is go through the episode chronologically. This episode's an hour long, so that might be a little difficult to really, you know, break it down in that whole thing.
What are you thinking? Scenes that we're, like, drawn to?
I'm thinking that if we have any notes, call them out, and then that will probably refresh some other things as well. Oh my god. Okay. So one of the first things I have and just want to talk about is the fact that Halil and Ramsey opened up the episode, and I didn't think that it would happen, and it's such a small decision in a way, but it's so well done. Right. It's so good.
Right.
It's great.
Like, it's... In hindsight, it's not a small decision.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but to me, when it first started happening, like, when it started playing out, I was like, okay, why are we seeing these kids again? Like, oh, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But then to get that kind of ending of what we saw before was the kid already running away and waving back at Eren, and Eren being very emotional, and the Mikasa conversation, and then going down to drink with all the friends. You know, we never got how Eren ended up with this kid and what he said to this kid, the emotions he was feeling when he was looking up at the sky crying and Mikasa was witness. Like, once I realized and the scene started playing out, I was like, whoa.
Okay, sidebar there. If Mikasa, we asked this last episode, if Mikasa had said something different, would anything have changed? Because, you know, I think that because of how this episode started, it's warranted asking that question again.
Yeah.
Because Eren did ask, right? I wonder if there was any reality that if she said more, Eren would have helped her or let her shoulder some of it. But from the first 5-10 minutes, I got the entire idea that Eren completely believes there is no way to change the future. And because of that, I don't think it mattered what Mikasa said. You know what I mean?
I think he probably took... from the language he was using and kind of the attitude he had toward his plan, it seemed like a solution or changing it was not even an option.
It wasn't possible.
It wasn't possible. It wasn't an option. And he just knew that this was the future. And he even looks over. He's like, I saved this. But then there's this dilemma here where he's like looking over at this kid and he's like, I've seen this kid in the future. I know I save him. And then he goes to save him and then turns and walks away. But then he still makes the choice to turn back around and save this kid.
Yeah.
So there's this interesting thing that we're seeing here where the dialogue of, like, it's fated to happen, it's gonna happen, is being said to us at the same time that we're seeing that he's making choices because he knows that that is what leads to a certain future that he's seen, and not be... And so then there's this weird free will debate that is there.
I would love to get into that a little bit because the idea of free will and freedom is such an important like theme in this episode and the whole series. So correct me if I'm wrong. Hypothetically, depending on how this story ends, could there exist another reality in the future where somebody has the power of the founding titan and royal blood and makes that connection again and could do a similar thing to what Eren has done. Like, if at the end of the series the Eldians are still alive and the Titan powers are continuing, like, it's being passed still, then I think that possibility exists. And if that possibility exists, then I am on board with the side of being able to change a future that you've already seen. I guess, maybe. I don't know. It's interesting, right? Because obviously we have Grisha being like, why are you letting me see this? What am I seeing now? He's seeing these things that are happening. But to a certain degree, that him seeing some of that stuff was happened because of the actions Zeke and Eren took, right? Like, they weren't doing it specifically to change what Grisha did necessarily, but it just happened that way, right? Like, do you think that Eren's visions are set in stone when he has them of the future?
Well, I mean, I think that it's more that you see from this current moment where is the future, you know? And he is kind of piecing together, I guess, how to achieve that set future. It does make me wonder if at all things had changed slightly, or if he sees that no matter what he does that goes against what he's seeing, it still ends up the same. It could be that this whole time Eren's been trying to act in ways that maybe fights against it, and no matter what, it still ends up with him doing this at the end of the day. For maybe the reasons have changed that he ends up doing it, but I think that maybe he's seeing that he can't go against it. And I think that fits with, I think that brings the beginning with the end of this episode with what Armin says as he's jumping out of the sky. Like, Eren, are you really free? Like, something of that effect. He says something like that as he's jumping out of the sky. And I think that kind of brings the episode all together with what I'm thinking and feeling of what is the case.
So in what way are you free, right? That's the question that Armin posed.
Yes.
It's interesting. Like, because at that point, if Eren isn't truly free because of the seeing what will happen and you cannot change it, then is anybody really free? Because within those memories of future things happening, those things have happened a certain way that are predetermined that affect other people's actions to lead to that point. You know what I mean?
But we also have this element of the founding titan.
Yeah.
Where we got that discussion on the airship with Reiner, who was basically like, I feel like anyone who had the founding titan like Eren would probably, what did he say, like, want to die? That's like, that's a really quick, like, putting everything into a little...
A really paraphrased,
simple idea.
Well, it's like the idea of, like, you're, as Eren, is having this weight on him, right? And he is going forward with it. And in his, like,
there's this
bearing it.
Responsibility weight, but I think there's also already been this idea of a lack of freedom tied to the founding titan from the moment this show started.
Yeah. We
got the whole, but it's the king's will, and so the founding titan can't act against it. But then Eren could break through that because, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Attack Titan. And why did I just say blah, blah, blah? It's complex.
Yeah, it is.
And, but I think that what kind of, like, that strikes me, that conversation, but also I felt this kind of not creepy feeling, maybe unsettled feeling when we got the final look up at child Eren in front of, when they were all looking at him and running toward him, and then they realize that they've run toward him and now they're back where they started. And you see two figures in the distance instead of one now, and it's Ymir beside him. And there's this kind of unsettled feeling of Ymir was trapped by people and forced into a certain role by people, and her freedom taken away. and she was calling to Aaron all this time, and now it almost seems like she's enacting that same thing that happened to her onto him, possibly, was that feeling I got when I saw that.
I think the idea of freedom is like such a strong like theme to go with, right? Because and the free will, whether it's an illusion or not, if the people within that illusion believe that they are truly free, then in reality they are. And regardless of what Aaron has potentially seen even further than what we've seen now, he is 100% giving freedom and free will, or at least the illusion of it, to all of his friends.
I mean, that's like a great thing to bring up, is like freedom versus the illusion of it. But then now that you've broken through that illusion, now you're like probably feel even less free than you did before.
Yeah.
Like when we started this show, it was like the walls and they were being kept in the dark and their memories were erased. But like a lot of people were living happy lives, you know, doing their business, marrying who they want, having a family, working their jobs, you know?
Yeah.
And we're living in somewhat of a peace, other than the people that decided to go outside the walls to fight for humanity. But like everyone that was inside the walls was having a relatively peaceful life.
It was like their own world and their own society, right? Obviously you had people who were very less fortunate in the slums underground. You had like the wealthy, crazy, privileged pieces of shit who like didn't want to give anything to anybody else. But you like in one perspective, that is could be considered like a stable place to live out your entire life in a way that was happy.
And it's like we were looking through this scope of, oh yeah, they need to fight this oppression of the fact that their memories have suppressed, and they need to break out of the walls, and then they'll be free. And then once that scope opened up and we realized that like, oh, once you broke out of that, everything's a little bit more complex than just, oh, you're suddenly free.
Which is interesting because Aaron and Armin both acknowledged this episode that outside of the walls, right, what the world really was not what they expected. And I think
like hoped for.
I think you could make the argument that in the world that they have discovered, regardless of if you're an Eldian or not, there are always going to be some semblance of a wall in front of you because that seems to be human nature.
Like you can't move freely between nations, probably.
Yeah. I don't know, but I do think, though, that in Aaron's mind, it doesn't matter to him what happens 100 years from now. I think it matters to him that within the next 50 years, or however long his friends live, they are going to experience a type of freedom that nobody else has gotten to in this entire world.
But then I have an argument to that case.
Okay.
My argument to that case is if he purely cared about ensuring the freedom and happiness for this current people he knows, then when Armin says, Aaron, you can stop, we'd be safe for another 100 years. See how that's a possible argument to what you just said?
I do, but I would argue against it by saying Aaron's still alive. So it would be the fear, right, of peace for 100 years, rather than
not like true peace.
Correct. And it seems that there is a pretty big pattern going on that countless times in this show, after people have witnessed and experienced true trauma and horror and just traumatic events, a lot of them come out with this sense of perspective and wisdom and wanting to be better. So Aaron, in his mind, could perhaps think, let's give the whole world that, and whoever is left, they will be truly free and at peace at that point.
Like, it's not like he's specifically, I think what we saw from this episode is that there is ways to escape the rumbling and be safe. And so it's not like he actually is like heat-seeking missile getting every single person that's not from the island, like dead and gone.
I mean, I didn't see anybody else who, like, survived after the Titans walked past them.
Well, we know it's possible maybe if you got onto a ship, like we have people on a ship right now. Obviously, the Azumabitos, and, but I think what we're kind of seeing is that it might have been possible for people to maybe kind of get into the water after the Titans had left the water and then maybe have survived. I think that a possible route that Eren is going is to try to take out the founder with him in order to ensure peace.
Wouldn't you'd either have to change the rules and the anatomy of Titans themselves, which he has the power to do so, or wipe out all Eldians for that to happen, right?
I don't think so.
But how do you get rid of just the founding Titan? Wouldn't it be reborn into another?
The founder.
Oh.
The root of all of it.
Ymir?
He's linked to Ymir. Ymir called him. To me, to you, 2,000 years in the future. To me, 2,000 years ago. All that sort of thing. He is being shown side by side as a kid with Ymir. Ymir almost called him. He's the only one that's heard her voice and or heard her goal and mission and her hurt and felt the same. And I feel like because of that connection, then Eren is the chance of actually completely almost giving freedom finally to the founder even.
Like breaking Ymir's chains as well, in a way.
Because Ymir's still trapped there.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know how he'd do it other than something we don't know yet. You know what I mean?
It's like he's kind of saying, like, you guys, it's almost like I know Armin used the word test, and then when they went and talked to him, he kind of went against them with that and was like, no, I mean, you can try to stop me.
Yeah,
you know? But it could be somewhat of a test and or a challenge that the only way that you can succeed after what I do is if you can completely beat me. And if you can't beat me, then...
Do you think there's a possibility Eren knows something that we don't and they don't, and that in his potential goal of being killed by his friends, they would stop a cycle or affect the connection to Ymir or the redistribution of the Titan powers after death? And he knows that his friends wouldn't kill him unless it came to this? Like, is there anything there?
I don't know, because after that last thing he said to them, I think he's really trying to tell them that the only thing they can do is kill him.
Yeah.
And he's reiterating it. He literally took them all out of the airship, metaphorically or within their minds, and said to them, hey, I know you guys are headed this way. And I know you want to talk, and I know what you want to say because I've been listening. And there's not going to be a discussion about this.
Yeah.
I brought you here to discuss that there's not going to be a discussion about this.
God.
Which we both, loved that
line. What if, at the start of this discussion, we were just like, I know what you guys are used to. 2-hour-long discussions. No. I only brought you here to tell you there isn't going to be a discussion
to discuss
on this 1 hour
how,
of Attack on
why,
Titan.
and how.
Let's talk about how there's not going to be a discussion. Yeah. Getting back, I have a bunch of stuff I want to talk about once we get there to that episode about later on. But since, before we're too far ahead, going back to the whole beginning of the episode and stuff, seeing Ymir through, I believe it was Ramsay's eyes instead of Leal, but from their perspective as they were about to get crushed was haunting. That was haunting.
I mean, like I said, Ymir was very unsettling in this episode. The feeling I have toward that character and their desire of kind of bringing about ruin. It's like that you're just right there watching it. You're watching these people get crushed.
Yeah.
And die.
You remember when I can't remember if we talked about this in a discussion or after we finished or caught up to Attack on Titan, when I was telling you about if you had to track, if you had to do what change, or if you had to make one change in reality to set all of this into motion, what it would be?
If I had to change one thing to
Like,
set this
remember when you and I had the conversation that I was telling you, okay, if one thing was to happen that set everything that we've seen into motion, what it would be? Do you remember that conversation? We had it, and I can't remember if it was in the car or on the channel. Regardless, I'd said that if one thing had to change to make everything begin, it was whoever the fuck left that pig pen open, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because whoever did was the reason that Ymir inevitably came across the thing that put us down this road, right?
The thing that gave the devil of all earth, the god that gave us this power.
Can Eren or the founding Titan, can they influence things so like crazy corner, like outside of the Eldian control? Can they, like, that we just don't know yet? Like, it's like such a like big mysterious power that I'm almost not entirely sure or confident in saying that they, you know, it only has this much of effect.
What are the actual set rules? Like, this was this thing that Ymir happened upon. It might still exist, and it might be more powerful than the power that was given to Ymir.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's still a giant question mark.
You know why I think that? For a fucking because typically I'm not into, like, when I do crazy theories, I try to stay within the guidelines of the rules given to us by this universe in anime. And I'm diverging from that a little bit because it seems like Eren was watching Armin through a bird at one point in this episode. And at that point, I was like, that's a little fucking weird, right? Because I understand Eren. I kind of understand Eren being able to tell where they all are on a plane, being able to, like, listen in because of the Eldian bloodline and stuff, right? But the visual of the bird on the ship looking at Armin, which then was followed by the kid Eren in that, like, sand-like world, which we got later on in the episode, I'm like, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
It was odd, right?
Yes.
But when after that horrifying, you know, scene of Ramsey and Halil dying and everything else, and we just saw the footprints.
Yep.
You know where my mind went?
God, where?
I was like, oh, like I'd love to cast those footprints, you know, like break out my field kit. Yeah, break out my field kit and, like, pour some, like, casting in there.
If there is a survival after this event, 100% they're making casts of those footprints.
Yeah, for,
and
like, historical legitimacy,
yeah.
right? Yeah, you'd have to do it. I don't know where.
And then in, like, hundreds and hundreds of years, people are gonna be like, the rumbling, what? That was a conspiracy. It didn't even happen.
Man, what's next? One of them shot themselves instead of being.
Yeah. I'm not surprised something like that was included. Once it like, honestly,
it's just the detail. Like,
all the boxes seem to be checked with this show. That, like, once I see something, I'm like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
You know, but, like, obviously I didn't think of it beforehand. It's just that once it happens, it makes sense to me. And having people decide that they weren't going to wait to be trampled and they were going to take their life into their own hands, freedom.
Yeah.
And having autonomy over life and death for yourself, it was totally believable for me. What made me laugh, the other thing that was really believable, were the people that were stealing from stores.
Looting,
and they were looting. And I was like, yep, sounds about right.
So, right before I wrote Eren can see through a seagull, I had written something about the line about the world not being, you know, what it was cracked up to be. If,
like, the fire and ice and land and ice or whatever it was.
If you're an author and you're writing that line, does the thought of meta commentary like cross you? The thought of, like, oh, I'm trying to tell my audience that this story is not what you think it's about, because the way that they built this world and story, we've talked about it on the channel for hours, and then in between you and I in conversations, that it's like the way that it started too. There's such wonder. There's such it's about the world, the history, like what's outside the walls, right? But then like further and further you go into the series, it becomes more and more personal. And then I still don't really know how much is left in this show.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I feel like the end of this show has to be personal. The end of the show has to be not otherworldly. It's going to affect this whole universe that we're in.
We have talked about that.
Yeah.
The idea of what type of ending narratively in the spectrum of this world's existence and the life.
It's the hardest thing to do.
And we were like, maybe this story just needs to consist of the people we've already met and not necessarily show us what happens 100 years after they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you see the parallel potentially there?
yeah, I also I want to latch on to something that you were saying, and it's that kind of idea that it's a multi-layered, it's not what you expect.
Yeah.
Once you learn it, it's not what you expect. Once you leave the walls, it's not what you expect.
Expectations.
Like, every time that you dig a little deeper or you go somewhere else, it's not what you expect. And for every character, they are expecting something different or something specific.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might be expecting freedom, but then once you learn that's not there, you might be expecting that the landscape looks the way that you had dreamed it did. And I think that is on all layers, is that once you kind of break free and are like, now I'm going to get what I want, then you realize like, oh, what, grass isn't always greener. What I wanted isn't necessarily exactly what I thought it was going to be. I might regret some things, like the Hizaru conversation.
Oh,
you know,
that was such a good conversation.
Like that. The wanting to help your family and financial gain and that sort of thing might not have been the solution that you should have tried to go with, and maybe you should have tried to think of a different solution, which makes me think of a Hanji line. But if you want to say anything on what I just said before I read the Hanji line.
Go for it.
Okay. I wasn't able to show Eren a solution, hope, or future.
I truly believe in like I'm probably wrong, but just like what we're not talking for hours before we start the discussion, you know. What's in my like head or heart right now is that at one point in time Eren was like totally open to hearing anything that he couldn't think of, you know,
which
like
is sad.
It is,
but
like it's sad for Hanji, right? That mainly for me, like I would like I'd hate to know that like Hanji still after dying is like, well, I fucked up, because I think what we continue to see is that hindsight's 2020, right? Like that's the whole fucking theme here, and
regrets, hindsight, it's not what you expected it to be.
Yeah.
Freedom, dreams.
God. Hanji, this episode, that's basically what's next, right? Fort Seta, I believe. And then Hanji, the next thing I've written down was Hanji agreeing with Yelena, which is right immediately before the line that you just said, because it's her acknowledging that, what they call it the euthanization, but it's like sterilization, right? The sterilization plan was the way to go, for paraphrasing terms, right? I don't know. Like, I could never, like, sure, we're saying that after the fact, but I could never see any of our characters settling for that.
Even if they knew, I feel like, even if they
fight for a different way.
They saw the future in the same way that Eren does, and say that Eren maybe tried to fight against it at some point in his younger years and then realized it was kind of futile, you know, like he couldn't, like, fight against it. I'm sure that if they got a glimpse of that future and they were hearing about the euthanization plan, I feel like they would be like, no, you know, I bet we can still change it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hindsight 2020.
Question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, Arnie? Annan? Ammon. What's the couple name for Annie and Armin? How do you feel about them as a...
I can't think of a good couple name.
As like a romantic, you know, I don't know. How do you feel about this direction?
Okay, so about this direction, I think that if you hadn't had the scenes of them that you did in like season 1, or how Armin like talked about Annie even after he knew who Annie was or what Annie did, even before he ate Berthold, the way that he spoke about Annie or thought about Annie, the conversations he had with Annie, the good person, bad person conversation.
You know what I'm fucking bringing up,
I
too.
think that it doesn't feel weird. I feel like this edition of the whole Berthold thing was only to cloud the idea of if it was truly Armin's feelings or not. In the same way that adding, oh, Mikasa, you're being controlled, and you know that's the reason that you care about me so much.
Yep.
It's a cloud them understanding themselves truly. It makes them feel hazy. Like, do I really understand myself? Is this truly how I feel? Like, both of them, both Mikasa and Armin were kind of given that feeling at the same time. But I feel like it feels good to me because of the groundwork that was kind of given to them, their personalities, especially early in Attack on Titan, conversations they had, how they bring back the conversation
bro,
here.
Don't get me started. Okay, fucking Armin. 14 minutes and 3 seconds into this bitch. I really do hate the phrase good person. I'm so happy.
And it's so cute because it's like she kind of gets up like hoping that he says something.
Season 1, episode 23. Annie, do I really look like such a good person to you? Armin, a good person? Well, I don't really like that term. Because, to me, it just seems to mean someone who's good for you. I don't think there's any one person who's good for everyone. I fucking cannot agree with you more, like, about your idea with this relationship and shit. I am so glad they brought this back, because it immediately when it's happening, I'm like, oh my god, everything that happened in season 4, we spent so much time in Marley, this feels a little out of place, maybe rushed even, because Annie, you know, was in Stone, but then it really brings it all back. It's so well done.
And if you think about their themselves as characters, Armin, the way he thinks and the way that he speaks is exactly what Annie needs and desires to hear. It's a person that is going to talk to her and put things in a perspective that she will understand, appreciate, and, you know, that sort of thing. Like, it's the way that he speaks that makes sense to me of why she would reciprocate feelings. And
one line that like really like sold it for me was when Armin was like, I want Annie to stay Annie. I was like, knowing what her past was like and how her personality in general was very, how silenced, I don't know. He
wants her to make her own choices.
Seeing her break out of the shell that was her past and trauma, and then seeing how that meshes with Armin, and Armin's able to realize and acknowledge the fact that it's different. It's just so good. I loved it. I liked it a lot.
I mean, she was... When they're telling Annie that she doesn't need to fight anymore, like, all of them are being so kind and understanding to her about this. Like, she has not been in this fight for so long. Yes. But she was trapped in this basically an icicle, alone with herself from fighting, and she wakes up out of it, and her reason for fighting, she believes, is her dad. And it's like, there's this layer of like, are you treating her as a kid, and that's why you're like, Annie, you don't need to fight anymore, just stay here, you know, with Falco and Gabby, and make sure they don't leave the ship. But there's like, it's just an interesting feelings there. Like, is it treatment like a child? Is it, I don't want to make someone do something that isn't in their nature to do. I want them to make that choice themselves, and all of us are resolving ourselves that we do want to go do this.
If I am in love with Annie and Annie tells me that I'm done with fighting, I can't do it anymore, then I'm not going to make her.
You're going to be like, I don't want you to be someone that you're not.
Yeah.
And who is Annie? Someone that, like, has her own opinions.
Yeah.
And her own, like, if she wants to do something, she's going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we didn't get to see her do anything yet in this episode. When that girl pointed up in the sky, I was like, no way, it's a bird,
show
it's
me
a
what
plane.
the fuck this is gonna look
it's
like.
It's Falco.
Yeah, I need to see what the fuck it's gonna look like. So we're getting up into Hanji. Hearing her give the command to Armin, and then hearing Levi say, give your heart, I was like already breaking down. Like I couldn't handle it. Hanji, I hate that she died, but she went out in one of the coolest motherfucking ways that we would not be on the plane without Hanji. Like she saved everyone. And Flock died.
I think like they honestly, dialogue-wise, energy of her departure was perfect for her character. The way that she was like, Levi, don't blow this really cool moment for me. Like, I just had the, like, most awesome exit ever. The most badass exit ever. Let me have this. And he's just like, he, like, supports her in that, and she's smiling. Like, and the fact of, like, how excited she is when she jumps up in the air and she sees, like, basically her life work, her life passion all in front of her. Like, it in the saddest way, they did Hanji really good with this exit.
Oh, yeah.
In the most heart-wrenching possible way, they did her right by this exit.
I was, in the moment when, the first time that Levi referred to Hanji as Four Eyes, I was like, oh, Hanji's gonna quit back and call you One Eye. Like, because, like, the injury. But then I was like...
both of them.
But then I was like, wait. Levi shows respect to Hanji by calling her Four Eyes still. After she lost an eye.
I know.
So I was
doesn't
like...
call her Three Eyes.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, that's just awesome. I love it. I love every aspect of the show. You know what? The dialogue, they killed it. Like, this reminded me of season 1 dialogue. You know what I mean? Like,
we've said it's like one of our favorite parts of Attack on Titan is word choice of people. Like when Anya Capone was like, I'm going to deliver you. I was like, deliver! I don't know why that felt so good.
I'm glad that Hanji got to spaz. I didn't... Obviously, these aren't, like, abnormal, like, crazy, whatever, but...
It was like Levi, back when we were doing the Charge perfect game against the Beast Titan and his ring of Titans.
It was so good. I'm just so glad that we got to see what she's made of, because at the end of the day, she was one of the first people we ever saw on the Scouts, right? Mm-hmm. She was picked for a reason. She's extremely skilled. She's still alive, or was, for a reason. And I love her.
I love that you just said that, because think of how she was when she got done speaking to Eren when he was in the jail cell, and she witnessed him being like, fight. And then she exits there and immediately like crumbles onto the ground, and she was like, Erwin, I don't know, like I was not like right for this, and she's doubting herself, and I'm like, there is no doubt in this Hanji.
I think Hanji might be my favorite character, like, in this series, or one of the top 3, 5. Definitely. I don't know. Her, like, it's so consistent, and it's so well done. It's not like the deepest shit, but it's like amazing.
I think she is pretty easy to understand. She's easy to enjoy and like, because I think that she is easy to understand in a similar but still different way that Sasha was really lovable. There was like an easiness to like want to befriend this person and understand them as a viewer. I think that they're slightly similar in that way.
The animation, I think you did a great service by bringing up the Levi fight with the Orangutan, because the camera worked in a very similar way of moving with Hanji, and you're able to feel the actual scale and direction and where you are, which is extremely difficult to convey in animation when it comes to a massive scale, and it's changing. That's why a lot of animes have fights in empty wastelands, right? Like, but it was beautiful. It was so good.
And there was also strategy to it that was appreciated.
Yeah.
It wasn't just blind swinging and hack and slash enjoyment and thrill.
Yeah.
It was strategy. There was the creating the trampling, you know, knocking them in the legs, like bringing you back to season 1. How do you train a scout to take down a Titan? You know, when it's so cool to I think it's so cool to see that, because we're so far removed from being taught how to take down Titans because of what has transpired over the last couple seasons, that it's like, yeah, we thought that was the issue. We thought that was the enemy. Those were the skill sets we were taught then, but now we have thunder spears and we're fighting humans. And she, in her glory, brought us back to the strategy and like technique and tactic of taking down Titans.
It was beautiful. I think my favorite part, which is kind of weird, was her dodging the rubble, like in the air. Like, it's like, okay, you're directing this episode. You don't fucking need to do this. You've already shown her like kick ass a bunch, kill a bunch of fucking the biggest Titans that we've seen, and then you just include like a good 10-second shot of her dodging all of the rubble that is being thrown up at her, and then go back into, oh my god.
Like, I'm surprised by that rubble that it doesn't even graze her. You don't even get a shot of her being like blown back for a second, but then not getting like deterred and like continuing to move forward. It's like she's just so graceful and amazing and badass in this moment that she goes out in blazing glory.
I can't believe like how quick it was. I wonder how many frames there were even in that. Look, every frame that I go on is completely different, right?
I felt like that whole scene was 5 seconds and 20 minutes at the same time.
Yeah, I completely agree. Without Hanji, we don't fucking get out of here. And Flock died.
Oh yeah, and Flock died. That was a thing that happened.
We don't know how Anyan Capone's doing, right?
I got really nervous about his survival. I
will leave my thoughts regarding Flock up in the air until we see if Anyan Capone is dead, because they could only fill the plane halfway because Flock shot the fuel tanks.
Yeah,
that is going to play a big factor.
Reserve judgment.
Yeah, I'm going to reserve my Flock judgment. I love Flock as a character, dude. I love him to death.
Necessary, amazing.
We have like to feel the type of emotions that you feel towards Flock, bad or good. You have to have strong character writing to be able to feel that way about him. Yep.
And for him to feel so necessary, like he fills a really necessary spot in this narrative, and he's the one person that fills this spot, basically. Like, on this side, we have this whole squad that is filling this spot. Flock is like a one man filling this spot. They already, before, getting onto the ship, killed everyone else, basically. And Flock is like last man standing.
Yeah.
He filled that spot. He filled a very necessary spot in the narrative, and he filled it really well. He made a very big presence and a big impact in his role. His job description.
Seeing Hanji first of all, be a fidget spinner like Levi, great, love it. And then seeing her just being on fire. What do you think's the blur effect? Do you think it's heat? Or do you think it's like
I like to think that it's heat, because that's what I would use to show heat, and like this a sense of glare.
Yeah.
And a sense of movement is that blur. Because then it turns into steam, almost like you can almost feel that it's so hot because they're creating that blur.
God.
Jean almost didn't make it on the airship.
Seeing Hanji burn up is fucking heartbreaking, dude.
What hit me was like, I mean, I think it obviously like hit me right when she was, burning, but then like what like even like sent it over the edge was just the drop.
Before the drop, we got to see like her on fire, and
on
then
fire and still
her point of view while she's on fire. Going after the Titan. This is what I fucking love about the show, right? Like, season 4 animation is changed, obviously, because it's a different studio. But one thing that has never been lost in this show, regardless of what episode we are on, is the creativity of the shots. Like,
Yeah.
it's just the flourish, right? Like, it's the extra mile.
I mean, you gotta have it with such great character writing. I mean, if you don't skimp on your character writing and all your characters are a chef's kiss and their dialogue is a chef's kiss, then come on, when you create the visuals and the composition of each shot, it also has to, like, stand up to that and showcase them.
Is the animation Demon Slayer Season 2, Episode 17? No. But it is fucking... It holds a fucking Olympic torch in a room that no other anime has even lit a match to me. Because it's...
So I like your fire puns in there.
Was
that on
fuck,
purpose?
She's on fire. Oh, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry.
That's something I would have done on purpose.
Yeah, god damn
And
it.
you would have given me, like, a look like...
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I absolutely love it. I hate so much that Hanji's dead, but oh my god, what a way to...
It might be my favorite death in, like, a cinematic way. I don't know, like, Erwin's was, like, really great, but...
Armin's
initial death was great, but this, like, I think this has surpassed them, especially with what they do right after it, where they, like, fake you out for a second. But then I was like, oh, but she's not burned. And then it's like fucking heaven on top of like all these footprints. It's almost like, oh, look, peace on earth after the rumbling.
And can I like really like break down? Here's a good way to put it.
Is that supposed to be Moblet that helps her up? I think his hair's a little darker.
Yes, but if you had to clip one piece of visual or audio of me ever to express my feelings and gratitude and appreciation for Attack on Titan.
Oh my god, I know what you're about to say.
It is that in Season 4, Part 3, Part 1, when Hanji is seeing all the loved ones, all of the people who have died for this cause, all of the potential even commanders of the scouts. We do not forget about Shallot. Shallot is here! He is here and he is not forgotten. Sure, it wasn't Shallot still alive earlier in Season 4. I'm okay with that now, because Attack on Titan didn't forget and neither did I. Shallot,
no, they definitely were like, ooh, you know, we showed like a horse dying earlier in this episode. Maybe we should make everyone happy again by showing Shallot.
It's like, oh, fuck, you got Erwin, you got Pixis, you got all these people, but then you got Shallot. Oh my god, dude, the show is so good. Right before Chapter 2 starts.
I had like a little headcanon. There was like a scout in the actual, like, without the like cape, in the corner of that really far out shot of all of them, and it was a blonde guy, and it wasn't Erwin. And I'm gonna go Thomas.
I like it.
Like, right up there. You see, like, right up there?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Thomas.
I like it.
And then up there, Petra.
But Shallot. He's looking great.
That's the boyfriend and girlfriend.
I like how you can see, like, the scorch marks still of where Hanji's body was before she stood up. God, it's like, come on, dude. Like, that's just... Okay.
Is this what the moon looks like?
I don't know.
I don't know, I've never been.
There's more places to cast footprints. Okay, Part 1, done, right? On to Part 2. Chapter 2.
Can you just imagine being an archaeologist after this and like the earth kind of like regrows and like reclaims and grass starts growing?
Biblical, bro.
Oh my gosh.
That's a really good point, though.
This has changed the landscape.
Yeah. I mean, it could, maybe Aaron's entire goal here is to try to build a world or cultivate a world full of successful crops and, you know, really focus on the farming industry in this world. And he's trying to just flatten out the land, you know?
Yeah.
Could be.
He's a farmer.
I do wonder how grass would grow back, you know, slightly elevated in some positions.
Yeah. I think it'd look cool.
Yeah. It's like a henge. So just a seamless transition with Connie reflecting on everything that has happened in Season 4 especially, right? Talking to Reiner.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you think that Connie could live with it? Like, we've seen Reiner struggling to live with it. Eren is currently trying to. do you think Connie could live with what he's done?
Okay. I really like this question. I'm going to go with the word solidarity. I'm going to go with the word because I feel like Reiner was given a sense of hope and or a feeling of security when Eren said that line all that time ago about being the same as Reiner. And there was almost like a breath of like someone understands me, of validation that someone understands you. You're not alone. You don't have to shoulder this alone.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of theme. Thank you, Mikasa. And I think that the looks on Connie and Reiner's faces that were happening after Connie speaks his mind, Reiner kind of agrees. They come to this agreement. Jean even pipes up. I think from that conversation of everyone in that plane, it was like, we're never going to forgive ourselves. But, you know, like, that's just going to be a thing. But we all are in this boat. We all are the same. Jean looks at Reiner. I think we're the same as you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some amount of, like, peace you almost see on these crying faces in this conversation. That
it's like trying to find
I'm not
solace.
alone in this. And it's like takes you back to, like, the idea when we talk about what is Eren doing? Is he just, like, trying to go through hell and shoulder this all himself so that no one else has to carry the burden? But all of them here are having this conversation where, hey, we're all carrying this burden. We've all done horrible things, killed people to save other people. And then when we get to Eren to have this conversation, Armin says a line to the effect of, like, Eren, we've done the same thing as you. So that's why my word solidarity is kind of what I'm going to go with on if Connie is going to be able to live with himself after, if he does survive whatever transpires after this episode.
It's, that whole scene was like so, it was almost uncomfortable. Like, cause you're trying to find something to latch onto to find that peace with them. To find that, oh, it's justified. Everything's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. But I think that all what they're doing is what Reiner says. We got to do what we can. Like, it's not easy, right? You're just doing what you can here, and that's it. And it's defeating, but it's what we have left. You know?
Yeah. It leaves you in a very, like, empty, like, maybe like a half, maybe I think that the feeling I could possibly say is that kind of half glass, that glass half empty, glass half full kind of thing. Like, you could either look at it either way. And but they're all kind of empty now. And it's like, you know, how do they handle being forever empty? Like, you're never going to be able to really forgive yourself for this.
Yeah.
So how do you continue on in your life? That's what's important, is the moving forward Eren line.
God. We're going to discuss that there's no reason for discussing.
That might be one of my favorite lines. I mean, it does not beat the Reiner and Berthold reveal on the wall to Eren. I still want that framed. I still haven't gotten it framed, but I still want it framed. But I do like that line. I found it really like a nice, like, comedic, but oh wait, I need to take this serious.
Like, the whole idea of them being able to talk there forever with no real time passing, seemingly.
Yeah, is Armin the one that said that?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I think he did say that as he was running toward Eren.
Take for as long in this world, right? Talk for as long as we want in this world. And I was like, can you just, like, live out your entire lives in here? Like, really get to know Ymir.
We know that Zeke faked us out. You know, I faked Eren out, really, and us, by, you know, the beard and the, oh, look at these shackles, I've been here for so long, and...
I wonder if Eren has the ability to hear conversations or has the ability to know what people are thinking, too. Like, the whole idea of him being able to listen in. Like, Is it
specifically because it's an animal?
Well, in this case, it wasn't. Right? Like, on the ship or on the plane.
There could be a bug or a rat.
I don't think
or a bat.
Maybe.
Or something.
I don't know. Maybe it's interesting, though, because, like, what was Aaron listening in that whole conversation with Armin and Annie, and we were just sitting there being like, yeah. You guys flirt.
He was like just watching this with
I've
some
given
popcorn.
you this freedom. Yeah. Use it.
And then when like everyone's like shocked and surprised, like, did you know about this? And Aaron's like, yeah, I knew it since season 1.
I can't believe he called him there. If there's one thing I did not expect, it was to be back in this world, seeing Kid Aaron and Kid Ymir staring at our gang. You know?
So unsettling. I would say a lot of the times that we're brought into this plane, it's comes with a very unsettling feeling and imagery. The way that people are drawn, the kind of gaunt, like darkness over the eyes, the sketchy lines over the eyes.
You know what I still haven't gotten over?
What?
In fucking towards the end of season 4, when we had the quick succession of visions when Aaron's head met Zeke's, we got the flash, like it looked like from the future, 2 people or 3 people we had never seen before. Does that allude to there being time after this story is over and a future of other people who have Titan powers and stuff? And if that's the case, like that opens up a different can of worms, you know?
Yeah, I have no clue. I feel like a can of worms could totally be opened. I just don't know which one.
Yeah.
And how many worms, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I just feel so...
I have a few more things that I've written down that I want to talk about. The Hizuru.
Yes.
She had great lines towards the end of the conversation with Annie.
Yes.
I'm trying to fast forward to it. Yeah. Why must we experience loss
before we
can realize?
Teardrop.
How to respect and value others without putting ourselves first. I really, really like that that line, because it's not it's something that you can't fix, right? For as much as you'd want to help the future of your world be able to have that ability to realize things before you lose other things, writing enough will never do. It is that experience that puts you in a different place.
Yeah.
And I think the realization of everybody having that in different ways is like, it's almost the most defeating part of the whole thing, because in a way they come to a realization that is satisfying to a viewer and makes you glad to hear, but just knowing that will consistently be a never-ending cycle for the rest of time.
Not if you're Aaron. He's trying to avoid that.
But that only lasts for how long? Like, it's only a matter of time. It's kind of like, think about what the same character said to Flock. Like, if I could find the note of it, like a few episodes ago, when it was like, isn't it just a matter of time before this happens in your world too? You know what I'm referring to?
Oh yeah, she says that. Kiyomi says that to him when she is in the chair.
Yeah.
And before Mikasa comes in and saves her. Yeah, she brings up to him that the infighting, human nature that we have been hearing since like Yuri and like a bunch of other characters have kind of said things along the lines of
the world will shrink.
The world will shrink, that's all.
And
the inevitable, I mean, think about that mural on the ceiling.
Yeah. God, it's so good. They're really good at like remembering all the pieces that they have on the board and like the history of them. It's like
I feel like if I had written this, I would have probably forgotten some things.
Yeah. All of the family members being alive on Marley is ridiculously convenient, but it's fun. You know, it's an anime. It's fun. I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it?
I guess.
I was happy about it upon seeing it, but once you brought it up into a discussion space, then I started thinking about it as, is that satisfying to me? Does it feel like too...
Yeah.
Yay! Annie's dad is alive.
It depends what they do with it, right?
It depends what they do with it. I mean, it was fulfilling in a sense because what do we get? we get all of the parents hearing that amazing speech, and suddenly they're crying and realizing that they weren't good parents or parental figures to their children, and they sent their children off to do these horrible things that for their own like selfish wanting to be self-righteous. This line. This is an Aaron line from the very, very beginning of the episode. Who do I think I am? I have no business acting as a self-righteous person.
Yeah.
So I think that they made it satisfying to me to have the parents all be alive, because they got to kind of they got to be brought to the same place that Kiyomi was brought to in her conversation with Annie, like earlier in the episode.
Anyan Capone flying the plane, love it. He's amazing. One of my favorite characters.
Yes.
But
you did bring up like him not getting to say anything to Hanji.
He acknowledged what Hanji did.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do the same in a way.
He better not die and trying to do the same.
If he gets to be with Shallot and Hanji in the end, I'm fine with it. He's never even gotten the privilege of meeting him.
That should have been the love connection. I mean, I like Army.
Arnie?
Arnie?
I don't know.
I kind of like Arnie.
Do you think that Zeke is in the nape of the orangutan?
That's a really great question. Where is Zeke? Where is Aaron keeping Zeke's body?
In my mind, no, because he has to be touching Aaron, and I don't think the Warhammer connecting it would be enough.
They're just like holding hands.
I think so.
But they're not in the nape of the neck.
Yes.
They're somewhere else.
Yeah, but just seeing like this grayed out orangutan, I was like, holy shit.
I mean,
it also makes me worried for the inevitable fight between the orangutan and Levi, because it's not. Is it the orangutan?
Okay.
Like,
no, I think it's a Warhammer weapon. I think
yeah.
Aaron chose to create, which you probably knew, and you were probably just asking that as like a rhetorical question. I apologize for jumping on it.
No, you're good.
But I think that you just brought up Levi entering into this scenario with us seeing a Warhammer version of the Beast Titan, and I raise you another element that hasn't entered into the narrative quite yet, but probably will at the beginning of next episode or next part or whatever it is, and that is that we kind of got talk of, Falco ingested some of Zeke's spinal fluid.
Yeah.
And so we get maybe a Beast Titan influenced Titan versus the Beast Titan, but not really the Beast Titan, and also Levi. And Levi flies on the back of Falco. I would be like, yes.
What's the
Because like Levi's having trouble.
Oh,
because
no,
of
okay.
the 2 fingers. I mean, he said he could do it.
So I was like, okay, but what's the narrative payoff if that's the route they go? Fucking Annie. Annie's gonna be there. Annie's the person who killed Levi's squad, Petra, everybody. If that's like the momentary forgiveness or pact to be able to work together in order to like fight together versus the orangutan or the orangutan, I like it.
So either Falco and Annie create these like platforms for Levi to fly on and jump off of in order to, help him along, because yes, he said he could do it with 2 fingers, but there might be some challenges. I like it.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Also, we have to have Annie come and be here when her dad is alive. That has to happen.
I agree. I don't know how long we're gonna wait. We talked about rewatching it in dub just for funsies.
Just for fun.
Because I definitely want to. I just don't know if we're gonna do it on the channel.
I definitely want to, because I feel like even though I like to hope that I catch a lot of things and understand a lot of things, I feel like I will still find that there are things to discover upon rewatching it.
And me, who feels like I've gotten nothing and I suck at catching things, feels like, fuck yeah, I want to rewatch it. I want to catch everything I missed. I have one more question for you, and then we can talk about our answers for it before we close this out. And that question I want to answer at the same time.
Oh, goodness. Okay. I gotta be prepared for this. Okay.
Does Aaron die at the end of this series? Answer in 3, 2, 1. Yes. Yeah? I'm extremely confident Aaron's gonna die.
At the moment, I'm pretty... At the moment, As Kiyomi said, I have no... Oh, and Hanji. They both have said similar things about other solutions. I don't have another solution in my mind at the moment. Or another ending idea.
I don't know what's going to come out of it, what's going to come after it,
Mm-hmm.
but I am extremely confident that Aaron's going to die.
It's where the narrative is pointing at the moment.
And I'm trying to figure out who's going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, my default, of course, is Mikasa, but I don't know if that's, like, too on the nose.
Too, like, Romeo and Juliet. Like, I'm gonna shoulder this with you, and then she kills herself on top of him.
Interesting. You think that that's, like, she would kill herself with him?
She might try. I don't actually think that that's the case at all. It was more of a joke that I was bringing it up. Who would be the most fulfilling character and most satisfying character to be the end bringer for Eren? I think Eren would probably prefer it be either Armin or Mikasa. Maybe more specifically Mikasa, because he asked Mikasa, what was that? How did he phrase it? What am I to you? Or something like that. I think that question puts her in a position to be the one with the job of ending him, if that is the path the narrative is taking.
Okay. I have three thoughts that I've been, like, 3 quick points in, like, very quick succession that I've been thinking about the entire discussion, waiting to get to this point. Number one, Reiner has a part in killing Eren because there's so much foundation laid and so much comparisons and parallels that even Reiner has acknowledged being the same and feeling the same. Number 2, Armin kills Eren. Colossal Titan, powerful. That's a big part of the story. Armin and Mikasa together could even potentially do it.
They're like, Armin, we can't use you. That's why Hanji had to go do it.
The on-the-nose answer that I completely think that, like, Mikasa cuts off Eren's head because it's symbolized throughout the scarf. Like, the whole scarf theme and it being brought up again with Annie talking about it literally leads me to seeing a picture in my head of Annie, like, looking at Mikasa and unknowing, like, without even saying a word, like, agreeing that this needs to happen. The scarf thing makes sense. It's a callback. Cuts off Eren's head.
Yeah, it's like a symbolism of, like, the neck area and the nape of the neck. Oh, it all ties.
And maybe it's a sort of peace or a calm that Mikasa's able to bring. A wrapping, just like Eren gave to Mikasa.
There's something endearing and loving that is involved with, like, wrapping someone in something. Okay, your Reiner, the one you said with Reiner, I think that evidence has been taken away from that within this episode. I think I could have been like, oh yeah, that could be a satisfying path of, is Reiner the one that's supposed to do it? Well, now that everyone else is agreeing they're the same as Reiner and the same as Eren, I'm like, okay, that doesn't have as much ammo anymore. It doesn't have as much, and it doesn't have as much weight, evidence, you know, now that everyone's like, yeah, we're all the same as Eren.
I agree.
Okay, that's what I had to say. Was that your last kind of question point? Okay. I wanted to talk about... I just wanted to end, I guess, or bring up some of the lines of this last stand. This guy, this commander, whatever his name may be, took advantage of the hate. They birthed Eren's hate, basically. Hatred marching at them to, like, basically get them back.
I think it's just to reinforce the message of this episode that's been thrown at us again and again, that this is what it's taken to realize where we are and what everybody's responsibilities and what actions people have taken in the past to influence other people.
And it goes, it basically, I think Kiyomi's conversation with Annie on the boat probably sums up how a lot of people are feeling in this episode. And the realizations a lot of characters are receiving in this episode.
Do you think it's real? Like, do you think that, like, if this was real life and these humans were our humans, that you'd be able to have that perspective in this moment,
that, after like, awareness that in that moment? The clarity?
I think for some characters, yes, and some no, right? I think that Kiyomi's an interesting case, and, like, that's more, like, okay, yeah. And then just to go along with the theme, and it is also very compelling, this other commander had a very similar sentiment, but has... I don't know. It surprises me more that he even said it.
Well, there's something, I think that it's very realistic what happens here in terms of like select people will understand it first and have the ability and the open-mindedness to come to that perspective, and what they will do is enlighten others. And that is what has happened in this episode at the very end with the family members, the Marley and Eldian family members.
Alrighty.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
I'm scared. I'm scared to end this.
We gotta do it.
Yeah.
You gotta push the button.
Gotta push the button.
Mm-hmm.
I got a haircut the other day. I feel kind of weird about it with my headphones on. I didn't put them on before. I got like a bunch of hair cut off. My hair almost went down to my shoulders.
It's kind of sad.
You know I'm weird because I'm like talking about myself and shit.
No, it's like you don't know how to end this. You like really don't want
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.